it, guys. Today we're testing out the brand new 2024 Porsche Cayman 718 Style Edition. I'm very excited about this. You guys know I'm a big fan of Porsches here on this channel. Just this past month I did a really cool testing video between the Cayman GT4 RS versus the Porsche GT3 RS on Thermal Raceway. I really enjoy these cars on the racetrack, and what makes the Cayman so unique versus the 911s is that this is not a rear engine car, this is a mid-engine car. So technically, if you're really chasing the same proportions of like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini with the weight distribution, this should be your go-to Porsche, right? And what's gonna make it even more fun today is that this has got a manual transmission, a 6-speed manual. I loved driving the Cayman GT4 RS on the racetrack. It's a very quick car, it feels very agile, but you can't get it with a manual transmission. You only have the PDK. I'm excited to hop inside this car out here in these amazing mountain roads to see if it's really worth the money, because it starts at $79,000 and prices tested here today is $87,000. So we're gonna see if the Style Edition Cayman is really worth it, and if it's different enough within the market to choose it over some of the higher horsepower competitors for the same price. I think this might have a secret weapon baked into its chassis, and I'm excited to break it down today in this video. So first, let me give you a walk around, and then let me hop inside and show you what it's like to drive on this amazing mountain road. So speaking about the specs of this car, you do have a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder motor. It's actually not up front. Up here you have a massive frunk for storage space, so conveniency, it's pretty high actually, but I love the proportions of this car. And with the Style Edition, you have that contrasting stripe right there in the middle on this gray metallic paint job. It looks really good, and to me, I think that stripe goes a long ways to making the car look more aggressive. It's just to really picture what this car is. The Style Edition is meant to really give you a good lifestyle appeal with the car. I've had people who have seen me at gas stations or elsewhere on the streets, they're just really gravitated towards it. And this is not, you know, the pinnacle Porsche you can buy. This isn't a GT2 RS or a GT3 RS. It still looks very just classy and appealing in my opinion. I could see buying one of these, and for the average owner, just taking it to work or to these mountain roads right here behind me. It looks like it's a classic Porsche. The proportions are nailed, and for 2024 you do have all the latest amenities. You have the xenon lights up front, you have the latest gen of the PASM suspension setup for the control. Also you have Apple CarPlay, a lot of technologies that you definitely want in this modern era. So as I was saying in the beginning of this video, this is a mid-engine Porsche, which means the weight distribution is right here behind the front driver and passenger seat, meaning it's got a similar weight distribution as, you know, Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I love mid-engine cars, especially on the racetrack. So when you get into a corner with this type of vehicle, you can feel how all that resting mass is already sitting right behind you. The mechanical grip already between turn-in is so well right behind you above those rear tires. It also helps for launching. That's why a lot of mid-engine cars launch so well, like the Porsche Turbo S. You know, that's a rear engine car. The engine's pushed even more further behind the rear axle, right? And that enables those cars to launch very well. But here's the deal. Here's what a mid-engine Cayman might have above a 911 that's rear engine. Since 911s have the engine put right behind this rear axle, when you go into a corner, especially low-speed corners, you're having to deal with a lot more of, well, you have to try to defy physics a bit more. Since there's not that much weight up front, you're not able to get that weight up there as effectively and easily. When you position the weight, the central mass, towards the middle of the car, it allows for the vehicle to wrap around the corners much easier for turning in hard or also getting on power. It's just, they feel a bit more balanced to me. And that's why if you talk to a lot of people within the Porsche scene, they will tell you how much they love the Porsche Caymans. I really have to say though, speaking about that entire idea of the Porsche Cayman, I think it's gonna be really sad seeing these cars go, because a lot of these brands are turning towards all electrification. So when you have all these electric cars coming out, they weigh thousands of pounds more than gas cars. When you have this vehicle, this weighs 3,000 pounds. You know, it's around the same weight of a McLaren that's made out of carbon fiber. So when you jump into a Tesla Plaid that weighs almost like 4,500 pounds. It's way more. When you go to the track, you're not only having to work harder by defying physics, but when you go into the corners, you're having to chuck that weight and hold it. Meaning when you're cornering really hard, those tires, you'll be eating through them much faster. And I personally have faced this with heavier cars on the track. You can go through a whole set of tires in one day, right? When you have a lighter car, you're able to naturally chuck it and just be more agile in the corners while also not working the vehicle as hard. You go through less fuel, you go through less brakes because you're not wearing them as much. Even the tires, you go through them less. So the entire appeal to a 3,000 pound Porsche Cayman like this, the Style Edition for 2024, it's definitely there for the drivers. And I think this is just going to be a really good driver's car for people who just want to have fun being one with the machine. This is a manual car again, and you're not going to find that very much anymore. Talking more about the Style Edition, you do have the Porsche logo and side stripes down below. It's subtle, but I really do like what they're going for here, especially with the 20-inch high gloss black spider wheels for the entire car. What's cool about this car to me is that there's actually an active rear wing, or well, there's a wing that goes up and down towards the very rear, and I didn't really expect that. As I was saying, this does have 20-inch wheels all around. Out back, you do have two 65 by 35 20s. Up front, you have two 35s. There's a wider stance out back, and I really just think the balance should be very good. You're not dealing with a 4,000 pound car. You don't need three 45s or 325s for a rear tire width. Finally, walking to the rear end of the 718 Cayman Style Edition, you do have a high gloss silver new Porsche badge right here underneath this rear spoiler. Then you also get this black finish for the sport tailpipes all the way at the rear end. When you get inside, there's an exhaust actuator button, so I can turn it on and it'll open up the exhaust valves, and it should be louder. We're gonna find out how it sounds out here. Hopefully it echoes right against all these mountain walls or the sides of the road. I know I haven't talked too much about acceleration metrics and figures, but this does go down the quarter mile in about 13.4 seconds. It's not the fastest car ever, but I really don't think like you should be buying cars purely off bench racing them. It should be about the emotion they deliver you and how they fit into your lifestyles. Regarding 0 to 60 times, this does go 0 to 60 in about 4.7 seconds. Not the fastest time, but we're gonna see how it comes together for the price tag in terms of the driving experience. If I were to open up the rear end though, by clicking this button and raising it, you do have a ton of storage. And I just realized something, it's actually much harder to pull up this rear hatch with this center wing up. So definitely make sure you lower that. You have plenty of storage space right here out back, and then again, an entire frunk. Underneath this section right here will be your 2-liter 4-cylinder inline motor. How is the maintenance over time? You do get a 4-year warranty with this vehicle, 50,000 miles. I think it's like a 12-year corrosion warranty as well. So did they hook you up with a good amount of time for being protected? I don't think you should be worrying too much about Porsche build quality, because everyone tells me they love tracking their GT3s and more because they're so reliable. Anyways, guys, let's go and hop inside. Enough of walking around the vehicle. Let's see what it's like to drive. Being inside the Porsche Cayman, I really do think the interior quality, it's very high in this car. It feels very well put together. The manual is very close to, and it's literally just an inch from the steering wheel. All you gotta do is move your hand to the right a little bit, not way down here, not far away. The cockpit is just, it's very well put together. It's very driver-centric in here. You still have an analog RPM gauge and a speedometer. Then towards the middle, you have a clock. So if you're a big fan of your Rolexes or having a watch, well, guess what? Now you've got a Porsche watch. The seats, they're comfortable. There's not too much side bolstering. It's not the most track-focused model, so you want to get into a car that is, it's got a lot of amenities, and this one does. You have heated seats, you have cooled seats, you have dual climate full control for the air conditioning, you have a CD player for crying out loud, you have Sirius XM, Apple CarPlay. Let me just go ahead and start the vehicle, and let's get going for the drive. There's not many buttons on the steering wheel. You have a mode selector down below. You can change between normal, sport, and sport plus. But let me put my foot on the clutch It's a very light clutch. It's not heavy whatsoever. If you're new to Porsche, well, you should know on the left side is where you'll find your starter. And it's on the left side because during racings, like in Le Mans, drivers found that it's easier to start the vehicle and hop in when you put the key in, or we'll start on the left side of the steering wheel instead of coming in, getting all ready, and finding start ignition. It's on the left side because of motorsports. Let's start it up and go for a drive. Real quickly, I do want to add, the Style Edition does give you custom chalk stitching, which you'll find that all throughout the seats, the center console right here, and you have the Stuttgart actual Porsche embroidery on the seats up top with a full black leather interior. I have it in loud mode, the wing is enabled, the suspension is in the stiff setting. We're also in Sport Plus mode, which should give us the most aggressive calibration for the vehicle in terms of the entire ECU. We're in the most aggressive setting for suspension, steering, everything. Oh, it feels so good driving a manual transmission again. Yes! Okay guys, well, let's head down and let's just go through the gears and see how much fun we're gonna have. It's just so light. I love being in a short wheelbase car because you can wrap around the corners very quickly. And being mid-engine, you've got such an optimum balance for those for the weight and the grip. Getting on power, oh, it just tucks in so well. How does it? This is just the Cayman. It's so agile. I mean, this could run loops around very high horsepower cars in the canyons. How? This is totally bringing me back. You know, I used to race Miatas. When I got my racing license, it was in a Miata, and they teach you car control. They teach you how to learn to take a vehicle with low power very fast. Miatas, you don't have the thrill of exiting a corner with a ton of power and making up time for a slow corner speed. With this, you have to learn how to keep the momentum up. It's called a momentum car. Keep the speed up in the corners, and you can't get just so light. Once you keep that momentum up in the corners, you can really go fast on straightaways, even though you don't have a ton of power. It's because you were able to not drop and let your speed dip. It's a really cool thing, and I really love momentum cars. They teach you how to be a better driver, and being in this car right now, it just feels so natural to me. This car is reminding me you don't need 500 horsepower to be as fast as a Corvette around the corners. You don't need that much horsepower. You could easily cross-shop this in a Stingray, and honestly, this car, it's totally different. It feels like it weighs hundreds of pounds lighter, and it does weigh 600 pounds less than a Corvette Stingray. I would take one of these. It's just got the whole Porsche mindset, a manual transmission, short wheelbase, mid-engine, classy sports car that just loves to take the corners. I'm becoming one with the vehicle right now. Being able to speed shift transmission so sharp, the active rev matching makes me not to worry about blipping and switching my heel over to downshift. That's going to wrap up my video review of driving the Porsche 718 Cayman Style Edition. It's got all the performance you want. I could see myself driving this everywhere. I hope you enjoyed my take on it. You don't need a ton of horsepower to be fast. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really has helped me out. And subscribe for much more great content coming out your way. While you do that, hit the notification bell for much more great videos like this to come. Stay tuned for many more great Porsche videos here on the channel. I love giving you guys, showing you the essence of these drivers' cars. I'll see you in the next episode.